Justin, welcome back to Just Ether TV. And in this episode, we're gonna be talking about the mindset of a winner. So I think we all know the feeling where we look at somebody else and they're getting these incredible results and we kind of think to ourselves, how the heck do they do that? These are the people that seem to get great results in all areas of their life. From friendships, social, romance, their health, money, everything just seems to go great for them. What is it that these people are doing that we might not be doing? And how can we try to understand that so that we can get results more like the results that they're getting? By the end of this video, you will understand the mindset of a winner and you'll have the insight to start looking at your own mindset and making those changes to get the results that you really want to be getting. Okay, great. So let's get into it. Tony Robbins explains that we all have these certain stories that we tell ourselves about who we are. We all have stories about how likable we are, how funny we are, how attractive we are, how smart we are, how much of a good worker we are. Really, through all these areas of our life, we have stories about every single area, and we also have stories about our own ability to make changes in these areas. Tony explains that we will always follow through on who we believe we are. And the reason this is so important, guys, is that whatever stories we're telling ourselves about who we are, we're acting out these stories and we might not even realize it. So now you might be thinking, okay, well, that's great, but how do I know what stories I'm telling myself? So guys, whenever we want to know what stories we're telling ourselves and find out what those stories are that are driving all our actions, all we have to do is look at our results in that category. For the areas of our life where we're getting great results, our stories in that area are probably that we're great, that we're a winner, that we're a champion of that thing. However, for the areas of our life where we're not getting as great results, our stories in those areas are probably a lot more negative, a lot more that we don't actually think deep down that we are the type of person that is able to do that thing. Because remember, guys, we always follow through on who we believe we are. So let's look at an example of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan probably had stories in his mind deep down of just who he believed he was, that he was the champion, that he was the greatest. And since we know that we always have to follow through on who it is that we believe that we are, Michael Jordan must have followed through on those stories and eventually he created that result. He was probably telling himself every single day, I am a champion, probably many times throughout the day. He had the mindset of a winner. He had the stories that this was who he was and he backed it up and he did it. So to understand this even better, guys, let's take a look at the reverse of this example. So what do you think the odds are that Michael Jordan was telling himself that he's a loser, that he's an incompetent basketball player? And we see this because of his results, right? The actions that he took over and over again to become who he became, which most people believe is the greatest of all time. He had to follow through on his story. And his story had to be, I am the champion, I am the greatest, this is who I am. So now, let's take a look at another example. Let's say that you want more results in a certain area of your life. And so let's just take the area of romance because I think that that's an area that probably everybody can relate to at least at some point in their life. So remember, first, if we want to know what types of stories we're telling ourselves, we need to look at the results. Let's say that maybe your romance life doesn't look exactly the way you want it to right now. And let's say that maybe it's even looks that way for a little bit of time. In that type of situation, the stories that we're probably telling ourselves are things like, I'm not attractive, guys or girls don't like me, I'm not that type of person, I don't know how to talk to them, I just am not good at those types of things. We can watch all the videos and we can read all the books in the world, but really at the end of the day, we need to go to the core or the root of why this is happening, why we're getting the results that we're getting, and that reason is our stories. Since we follow through on who we believe we are, if these are the stories we have in our mind or something that is similar to those, then we're really not going to be able to get the results that we really want. Having negative stories and expecting to get positive results is sort of like trying to walk forwards and backwards at the same time. They contradict each other in a way where it's really not possible. And because we think better in images, I want to go to our drawing board for a moment and I want to just show you how this looks, so hopefully it can really sink in. Okay, here we are. So I want to try to make this a little more clear. Let's say that this is us. And let's say over here, from here it sort of looks like a heart. I think on there it looks a little bit like a peach or something. But let's say that over here, our heart represents a perfect romance life, whatever that is. So maybe if you're married, a more vibrant marriage. If you're dating, more vibrant dating. If you're single, just enjoying going out and meeting somebody new and exciting that you can click with. And over here, let's just draw an X. So the X represents things not being how you want to be. It's not the direction you want to go. Not having things your way is not the way we want our lives to look, right? And let's say that this here represents our positive story. So here we're operating from a standpoint of I am very likable, I bring a lot to the table, I'm an amazing person, I'm the type of person that is great at this. And let's say over here, we have a negative story. So whatever our story is kind of some of the things that we talked about before, right? Which is, I'm not the type of person that knows how to do this. I'm just not very likable. I'm just not very attractive or very funny, or I'm just not very good at this whole thing. Now imagine in a very tangible way that this is us, and imagine if our feet are going this way and our story is positive, we have to go this way. This is the frame of reference we're operating from. This is how we're gonna act. These are the actions that we're gonna take. Our feet are pointed in this direction and it's guaranteed that we're gonna go this way. Now don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that, today you look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame and tomorrow you marry Jennifer Lopez. I mean, these things are somewhat of a process. However, we see that he's going this direction, and probably because of his story about himself or herself and the action that he or she is taking, they're going that direction. That's just how it is. Imagine instead that you have the negative story that we talked about, that I'm just not that type of person, they just don't really like me, I'm really embarrassed, I don't know how to interact with them. Then it's kind of like our feet pointing this direction and we're going towards this thing that we don't want. Not necessarily because that's what we want, but because that's our story or our frame of reference we're operating from. And so whether we're aware of it or not, the actions that we're taking are going to bring us in this direction, because that's how human behavior and human beings work. And again, to put one more illustration, oh, he doesn't have arms, or she. So you see here, look at if their feet are pointing this way and this way. You just can't go both directions. You just can't. And so if we want this and we don't want this, it really comes back to What is our story? Who is it that we say that we are, that we believe that we are? Do we have the mindset of a winner and a champion and say, this is who I am, I'm always gonna make this work? Or am I saying, no, maybe this is just who I am. And that's how we end up in that spot. I wanna give another example that I think might help to make this even clearer. All right, let's get my masterpiece out of the way here. Okay, cool. Okay, so in this example, I want you to imagine a train. Okay, let's try to make our train here. Sort of looks like a train. Now we're gonna draw the tracks. So the train is going along on the tracks, right? And up here, we're gonna draw, let's have this smiley face represent what it is that we want. And let's have the crying face represent what it is that we don't want. Now, I want you to try to imagine in your mind that the tracks go like this. Now, which direction do you think that this train is gonna go? Now this train, it doesn't have a choice, right? The train is on this track and it has to follow the track because that's the way trains work. The train has to follow the track. It's not just gonna suddenly start flying over here, right? So in this same way, we are like the train. So this is us. And our stories are like the track. And we've learned, right, that we have to follow through on who it is that we believe or that we say that we are. And so our stories are gonna have us going of whatever direction we put this track. The good news though, guys, is that we get to decide where this track goes. Our mind, it's kind of like the engineers and the builders and the workers and the people that create the track, where if we don't want it to go this direction, we could destroy this track. We can build a new track by the way we think about ourselves. And now, because we always follow through on who it is that we believe that we are, now we have to go here. And again, it doesn't mean that these things are easy. It just means that the mindset of a winner, this is how they think. They're like, I am the type of person that is going here, period. And I'm not gonna settle for anything else. This isn't an option. I have no interest in going here and I will never go here. This is the only option, no matter what it takes. And because they believe that thing about themselves, that champion mindset, that winner mindset, this is where they're going. And this is where they're gonna end up. So it does come down to making a decision, guys. Do we want to build ourselves a track that goes here? Or are we just going to not look at our results and then not look at the stories that got us to those results and refuse to work on recreating our stories to get us where we do want to go? So now this kind of begs the question of, okay, Justin, so you say that I can destroy this track and create this one. Well, how the heck do I build my track here? And in my next video, we're gonna take a really, really close look at that of how does this mindset of the winner work? And then if we're going on this track that we don't wanna go in, how do we reprogram our mind so that we do have that mindset of a winner, of a champion, that we are gonna get here no matter what? So now we have learned that a story is basically a set of beliefs that we have about ourselves. We've learned that we have to follow through on who it is that we believe that we are. We learn that negative results must be coming from negative stories. And we've learned that to make massive change, we really have to go directly to the result of these stories and start to think about what we would like these new stories to be. If we want great results, it first has to come from great stories. And these are the types of stories that all winners have, that all champions have. And as a final note, guys, the winner's mindset doesn't mean that you never doubt yourself. Everybody doubts themselves and questions themselves, and that's totally normal. The winner's mindset, it really means that you are gonna find a way because you are that type of person. That you are the type of person that crushes it, that makes it happen no matter what, and that you're not gonna settle for anything else, no matter how much effort it takes or how much time it takes. So guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this edition of The Winner's Mindset. And I'm really, really grateful to have you guys here with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Don't forget to tune into our next episode of how we reconstruct and reprogram our mind. I hope everybody's staying safe with everything going on in the world. And I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Peace.